Be'ezer Hashem Parshas B'Shalach Tovshin Pei. Previous week we started discussing the topic of loneliness. The Chabis Al-Vobos and Sha'ar B'Tochen mentions this challenge that people have and how a person is supposed to rewire their brain in the Torah way, the right way, so they could really feel that closeness with the Rebbeinu Shalom. And a person could really use the Torah therapy to manage this challenge. And there's many different situations which people think that it's a different issue, but really what they are feeling is lonely. They feel that everybody has the help they need, only when it comes to them. Nobody's around, nobody's home. If when they make a simcha, people don't show up, they feel so out of place. They feel like, I don't count, I'm a nobody. And when people struggle, very important, when a person goes through a challenge, no matter if they have 16 siblings on each side, and tons of askanim calling them, deep down a person feels very lonely then, that only they're going through this, and nobody could understand their pain, and nobody really has to go through this. They're the only people that have to go through such deep pain. So there's mamash numerous situations in a person's life, every person's life, where a person is going through a challenge, and the bigger challenge that they're having, the unspoken challenge, is that they really feel lonely. Now, what is that pain? What is the havana? What's the understanding for feeling lonely? And the answer is that a person that feels lonely feels that they don't feel their self-esteem. They don't feel that the be'emes have value. Sometimes you could have people that, I'll give an example. If they're struggling, they didn't have children for 15 years. Now that's a very big tsar. It's a very big tsar. But in private conversation with them, when they feel comfortable enough that nobody's watching them, and they can like a shtickle break down and speak what their pain is, they're going to get to this nakuda. They're going to say, if I just don't show up one day, if the person is safe, let's say it's a chas v'shalom, a car accident or whatever, I don't know if anybody's going to know b'chlal. That's what they're going to say. It's very painful. Sure. Older singles, you get back to this nakuda. It's very deep. What's that nakuda? What is it? It's that a person doesn't feel that they count, that I'm worth something. It's that plus a shtickle addition to that a person has a feeling, a person has a need, not only to feel technically like they count. A person needs the warmth, the sympathy, the love, the feeling that someone cares. It's number one, to feel like I am something, I'm worth something, and in addition to that, to feel it, that people care about me, have feelings towards me. Now, when the Eibusha puts people into lonely matzavim, each and every one, just if we would have the same situations and the same struggles, the same nisyonis, then we won't feel lonely. So Hashem is creative. It makes everybody go through different situation at a different time. So they could really have the full-fledged feeling of, I'm the only guy that's going through this, and everybody's managing, and nobody cares about me. But this is bedafka, like the Chabis always explains. Bedafka, in order to teach a person, to help a person slowly develop their deep connection with the Rebbeinu Shalom, with the Creator. Chabis always explains, because when a person leaves this world, they only have Hashem. Everything is not the gay anymore. No family, no friends, nothing. So, in order for a person to develop that relationship with Hashem, which is needed for the future, which is needed for the Olam Haba, so in this world, Hashem makes sure that a person goes through such a matzav.
There's no connection between the Shabbos and...
Not That means it maybe has a technical shaykhs, but if you go up and up, there's nothing. The further a person goes up, then they're alone with the Eibishter. So now, what's interesting is that Hashem helps a person develop this feeling with two stages, two steps. Step number one is that they do get recognition and love, and they're bundled with it when they're born. Tons of it that you care, and the person, the nefesh inside, even though it's a few days old, slowly feels the opposite of being abandoned. And it's critical, mamish critical for the nefesh to feel that. And Hashem created a system of the world that every baby that's born in a normal mahalach should get a fair dosage of the opposite of being lonely. And unfortunately, if there is a situation where the neshama doesn't, for whatever reason that the kid was abandoned, then it really has an effect for the hemshech, and it's an unhealthy child. Usually, it's going to be hard to fix. But on a regular basis, the child gets it. The child gets that love. The idea is that the Eibishter wants for a person to first feel what it is, and then slowly take that feeling and know that that's what Hashem feels about you. If a person wouldn't get anything and from day one would be lonely, and they would learn the Torah that Eibishter loves them, Eibishter cares, would never be able to have the grip what it is. It's not possible because they don't know what it is. So that's the system of how Olam Hazeh works. Nefesh gets that warmth, that love, that you care about the neshama, and then slowly Hashem takes away a person that used to care for you, a person that used to support you. Slowly, in so many ways. Then a person is supposed to take all that that they were that they acquired, and understand it. Be'emes, it's Hashem gave me that and that love through a person, and now Hashem is expecting me to do it again in my brain. I should work with it without having the levush, without having the. That's the idea that every person has to go through this. There's no one that.
Is that the pshat?
Yes, that's the pshat. That's the Pirush Amilas. David HaMelech made this kapitel when he was in Tziklag. But that was in this kapitel. Tziklag was a place. David HaMelech was king. He was king. And all of a sudden what happened was that the Amalekim, they came and they were in the middle of a Malchama, in the middle of a war. And while he had a few minutes of Hesach Hadas, they took all the wives and children and they captured them. They were hostages. And he stayed on his own. And the men accused him that it's his fault, and he's the Reitzeach now of all their wives and children. And he found himself in a situation that he was alone. He had nobody. And he was coming from all the way up, from being king of whole Klal Yisrael, and it's including guilty conscience, that I should have been more careful. That means when a person has guilt, they feel on their own. They feel I did it to myself. Nobody could help me, because guilt is something that makes a person feel like I don't have anybody that I could rely on. It's my fault. And then it says in the pasuk, "Vayischazik David b'Hashem Eloikov," and the Sforim explain that Hashem Eloikov means it was only his. He had nobody. It's a lashon yochid, not Elokeinu. He had nobody. And then with this chizik, he went and he got them all back, and Baruch Hashem, everything turned around again. But he had a moment of loneliness that was so deep that the pasuk said, and then he made this kapitel. He said, "Ki avi ma'azavuni Hashem yasvini." I have nobody in the world. And that's very, very important for a person to develop in their years here in Olam Hazeh, to feel that. And when a person goes through a situation that they feel that nobody would be able to understand them, no way. You're not shy for a person to chap. I could try to explain to my friend. My friend never went through what I went through. He doesn't know what it is. And sometimes a person feels so lonely, after they spoke to somebody and they finally vented, they finally gave it out, and then that person replies with such little tact. They say something so stupid, and then you like, the loneliness is not shy. Like I already went and I already spoke, exposed my whole insides, and that person so doesn't get me. Like, how could you be so dumb? Yeah, that's what Abisha does, and that's very, very important. It's extremely important for persons, and it's bedafka. It's bedafka because, like we're going to learn, it's so good for the person to go through this. It's mamash a kinyan. It's a kinyan nitzchi. The other day, a yosim, but he was a fresh yosim. He lost his mother, a bocha. But it was from 1 minute to the next. Couldn't get himself. Couldn't, the brain should be able to comprehend what happened. And one day he spoke to his chavrusa, how much he misses his mother and how much now he feels that he's such a nebuch, and now what's going to be. And after talking, this boy tells him, so what do you want? I mean, I can't bring back your mother. So that means the boy that was listening was working with a mechanism of a man. Like, so you need a shovel? Like how, it's devastating. Mamash devastating. Why? Because now what I thought someone's chutz gonna get me, the person's giving me all kinds of good ideas, and I want to tell him thank you. Thank you for the chizuk and for the good ideas, and please go home. Now, what is the reason? Again, because the Eibusha wants us to be able to draw this deep feeling of connection and value and erech and everything from the Rebbeinu Shalom himself. That's the concept. Now, why is it so hard? Let's go weiter. L'choire, if a person learns some sukkim in the Torah, if a person tries to be mizboin and you try to think deeply and analyze, the Eibishter created man, the Eibishter created us, the Eibishter has the most rachmanis, the Eibishter knows everything that's going on, the Eibishter feels my tsar and understands me like nobody could understand me, because the Eibishter knows all the details. So why is it important for a person to get recognition from a different person, which maximum is going to get me 90%? What's the pshat? You have Hashem, you can talk to him, you can say to him, talk to him in Yiddish, in English, any language, and you can be sure that Eibusha gets you 100%. So why do you need someone that's going to give you only 90% recognition? The person can't understand you all the way. What's the answer? The answer is because a person wants to have it tangible. A person wants to see facial expression, feeling with them. They need the chushim, the senses. I can't just speak and feel and know, I believe with emunah that Eibusha understood me. I want someone there to hold my hand. I want someone there to cry with me. I should be able to see with my eyes how they feel my tsar. Listen, how they're listening. And because I feel I need that, so I'm looking for it. So I'm searching for it. And I would speak to this one. This guy didn't get me, I'm going to speak. Whoever's masking to listen to me, that my boss is wrong, that he's not giving me a raise, whoever's masking to listen, I'm going to say it again, to the 10th time. Aber this road leads to being devastated, because you can't really fill up that pool. It's not bad Mashiach. Like the Chavis Avavos explains in Perek Beis in Sha'ar B'tochen, any person, no matter what, they also have different things in life that they gotta go. Mitzvah tomorrow will continue because they have to go to Mincha. And the next day, they have their own parasha. So, that was it. They were able to be your mishenet. They were able to help you as long as they didn't have. But now they're in the hospital with a child, you can forget about it. And so on and so forth, and they can't get you, because it's not possible for them to go into your matzav. Kum tois, and really the psukim in the beginning of Keheles, they spoke nefesh adam lo yisamale. That means that if you're going to try to complement. It means you're going to try to fill up your your hole with something else besides the truth. You're just going to keep on going and going. It's not going to happen. And that leads us to be depressed. That leads us to feel lonely. And it's a galgal achoize. Versus if a person chaps that it's possible for someone to get such deep feelings from connection to the Rebbeinu Shalom, that would be'emes be able to be even stronger than what a person could give them. And I'll be cheshbon, it's going to be stronger because it's 100% if they work on themselves to have that emunah and to develop it by talking to Hashem, by learning svarim that explain it, and they go into your nefesh so deep, and you see, wow, that's exactly how I feel. Tillim has sometimes psukim that explain, and Rashi they explain so strong how you feel that a person that's going to work on themselves is going to be able to reach a feeling of this, and then it's going to be much stronger. And this is really the story of life. Be'etzem, that's the story of life. That means in Hanos and Tainug and all over the place, a person wants to feel it immediately. He wants to have it tangible, instead of doing it the long way and getting something that's much more echuti, that's much more quality, much of a much stronger quality, the nature of something that's emes, it's real. And you have it in real life. I mean, this is the real life, but I'm saying in different areas in life, when a person could get something for cheap, they have it today. If you want to have the better company, it's only going to come into stock after Shabbos. So it depends how old you are. Depends how many times it happened to you already. What's the difference? So this is a story of life. That means if you want to get it right away, right now, and then find out why it was so cheap, or you want to understand that, listen, it pays to wait. It pays to go the hard way, because then you have something. Then you got it for real. So it's in all areas of life. And the same is with feeling that I'm worth something. Feeling that connection. Feeling life. Feeling that life. You feel it through Hashem. You get a way, a mahalach, that you're going to feel it even stronger. But you're going to have to go the long way. And that is deleting everybody around you. I mean, drawing that feeling from the Eibishter slowly, understanding that I have nobody, and the Eibishter does understand me. I'm going to talk to him, and I'm going to feel satisfied afterwards, and slowly a person feels it. It gets to the Ramah that a person could feel it mamash. This is the concept. Now there's two very important additions to this. Number one, that the main reason why people don't get to this Geschmacke feeling is because they're upset about the matziv and they're fighting the situation that they feel like it doesn't make sense. So that is the mechitza that doesn't let them connect to the Rebbeinu Shalom. There's a saying that pain plus resistance equals suffering. That means the situation itself is not so bad. It's the situation plus the resistance that you have that equals the suffering that you feel. But here, when it comes to the sugya of feeling lonely, it's so much more important, the chapis nakuda. When a person is on their own, nobody gets them, then they're the closest, the mom is the closest to feeling such a strong hug from the Rebbeinu Shalom. Not hard. The problem is that right then and there, when you're there, when a person is busy wasting their energy, mom is wasting their energy, the people are crazy. People are so don't have midas. And what did this sister-in-law think when they were deciding the Chanukah should be? I told them that it can be. It means what happens is that the whole nefesh goes on resistance mode. Why am I feeling lonely? This makes no sense. Because everybody's just abandon me. Everybody's busy with their own life, and nobody gives a hoot about what I'm going through. So the kas on why aren't people here to help me? Where's everybody when I'm drowning? Is what takes over a person. It's fascinating. The loneliness so many times is developed is from a kas mesuyim that now when I had money for states everybody was here. Now that I don't have money for states, so nobody came. Not always it's exactly kas. It doesn't only have to be this specific case. Sometimes it is disappointment. Like a devastating feeling of, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Behemoths, people, human nature is so sad. And if a person gets into the machshavas, why is this happening to me? So that is taking over their mind and not letting them enjoy the moment. See the moment. I mean, enjoy the mitzias. If you're on your own, you don't know what you could do with it. It's not so complicated when you're on your own. The issue that we have in life is that we're constantly around people. And that's taking away the pleasure and the hanor and the feeling of being close to the Rebbeinu Shalom. When a person is with themselves, many times I'll give a third, I said this kas is disappointment, then there's a third mahalach, there's like a she'ifa. I wish I could now be with, I could be with friends and family. I wish I could, now I want to be with others. So once again, your nefesh is busy trying to have something else or being upset about something else. How about a person's in a matzav, they say, oh, gewaldig. I hate being around people. You speak of all these people that are introverts. How do they call them? Mufnamim. They call it. It means they take their chiyas when they're on their own. Many people that are late owls, they mean they're up. That's when they do everything. Is because it's quiet. And when everybody goes to sleep, they could clean the house. They could write. Even though it's 2 a.m., it's because that itself is in them. Now, people that feel that they need it around and around don't like it. They constantly want to be together with others. So that's what hurts the person so much and doesn't let the person develop this nekuda. If a person chaps that it's bedavka and it's latoiv, that a person is going to enjoy it and start speaking to the Rebbeinu Shalom, start being mizbein right, and then a person could slowly have a grip on this amazing feeling that a person could have of being close with Hashem. Another nakuda, which takes it even further, is that a person should chap that this pintle of loneliness and bitochen are connected very, 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 very strong. These two sugyas. Let's explain that. When a person has a challenge in parnosa, a person has a challenge with they're waiting for children, medical challenge, any kind of nisoyan, whatever they have, waiting for a shidduch. The area where they're being challenged is not themselves. It's an area in their life. They are who they are, but now they're going through a parasha with this liquid. This child is being very challenging. Or, like we said, parnosa. This area in life is not. I don't know how am I going to cover the month. I'm running. I feel I have no life. But that area that's triggering it is a detail in your life. Loneliness is something that's not a detail in your life. It's the deepest part of a person's nefesh. It's who am I? It's if I'm worth anything. That means that a person feels lonely enough, they feel like they want to die. Suicidal thoughts come from loneliness. Zucha comes from that. That means it's touching the deepest part of a person that I'm nothing. So I'm so stark nothing that I don't know why I'm still trying to make it work. It'll be better for the world than for me. Let's just finish this. So it's touching a place in you that's the person themselves. And that's not only when a person has this nisayon of loneliness, just like we mentioned, all different nisyonis. Also, the hardest part of the nisayon is this. When a person is not managing financially and they mamish, they don't know what's happening, how they're going to fin. What are they feeling? Why can't someone help me? People should be a little bit more forthcoming and just, you know what I mean. I asked that when a person really takes the guts and they ask someone for help, and they're so nice to give $18, and it's again the deepest pain is being lonely. Why? Because it's touching the deepest part of a person's. It was I'm be'emes ibrik, I'm be'emes miyutar. I'm just staring people. So, if a person chaps that bitachon offers a solution, or better gesagt, a trufa, or a cure for this pain, then we chap that this is the deepest area where bitachon is needed. It means it's the strongest form of bitachon. Because if I'm not challenged ever with the essence, only with details of my life, and I try to have bitachon about it. Okay, Zeh Shein. You're believing in the Rebbeinu Shem and take care of that and that detail. But when a person feels that they have to come out to bitachon about their muhus, about their life, then the holding on for life. That's what it's called, holding on for life. The same type of feeling is when a person is, the doctors are saying they don't know if he's going to make it. And the holding on, it's not like, if it's going to be good, if not, it's also good. No, it's not also good. They feel like they're holding on for dear life, there's nothing else, zero, nothing else. That's real bitachon. In any other area, it's not real bitachon. Years ago, we mentioned by the shir that a person bought a lottery ticket, and the tzaddik gave him a haftocha, a promise that you're going to win this lottery ticket. He said, but you only if you believe. He said, I believe. You sure? Yes. How much? He said, $10 million lottery, and you for sure winning, but only if you're sure. He said, I promise you, I'm 1,000% to have bitachon, and I'm going to get it. Now, an hour before the drawing, taking out the ticket, his friend offered him, I'll give you $5 million cash right now. And you just give me the ticket, I'll give you cash. It's a hard one. Now, if the guy says, no problem, I think I'll do with 5. I don't need 10. What's the pshat? The pshat is that they're not really believing this. I'm trying to get to the nimshal of that, not the smashal. Many times, the reason why people have bitachon, and this really kriegt rein sehr tief in the nefesh. Why do we have bitachon? Be'emes? Because we feel like if it doesn't happen, I'm also going to manage. Because I'm old enough, mature enough. I really want it to happen. I'm not going to fall apart and lay on the floor and kick. No. Eibusher telephone. Hey, what'd you say now? You said the Eibusher telephone. You know why you're so sure the Eibusher telephone? Because you're telling yourself, and if Hashem doesn't help, I'll manage. So good, this way and the other. What happens if a person is challenged in a place that if I don't have that, then finished. Then a person is be'emes in the mifchan if he's really having bitachon or not. So it sometimes happens when a person feels that they're suffering if they're going to make it. But when it comes to loneliness, it touches this nakuda of the nefesh. That means he's being challenged if I'm bechlal someone. And it's being triggered by tens and more numerous situations that they feel that if they're going to lose their ma'amad, if they're going to lose the job, if they're going to lose, then they're nothing. And most people that are struggling with busha, with being embarrassed, are being they mean that their big nisayon is here. That means it could be if a person's challenged with a child that's off the derech, and they have to go with him, have to walk the streets with him, or coming to a simcha, and everybody should come and tell them mazel tov, and watch the scene. It's very, very, very embarrassing. But what does it mean to be embarrassed? What it means to be embarrassed is that I want to know what people say. Or they say they just want to die. Or they say they just want to not be here. They wish they could run away and nobody should see them and they should be in a hole. It's very, very deep. Why? Because they're being challenged. And someone didn't go through it, doesn't know how deep it is. No. Someone that doesn't know how deep it is. It chuckles the core essence of a person. But if a person went through any type of nisoyan, that's what it did, and they had no breda, they just had to hold on tight to the Rebbeinu Shalom, then they put in light to the deepest closet in their nefesh. That's what they did. Nothing doime to a challenge of parnosa. No shaykhis. Because that's what gave them the reason for life. That's what gave them the reason for life. Because I have Hashem. Yeah, I didn't have anybody. And David HaMelech in Tehillim, that's what's fascinating. Many times in Tehillim he talks about this specific challenge. Not only by Ki Avivim Yasavuni. Gam Mishloim Yasha B'tachte Bo Hiktel Olai Okev. I had a close friend. And just Begida. Abandoned? No. Betrayed me. Or someone goes and knows your secrets and goes and just publishes it. And goes and the person feels so strongly betrayed. It's very deep. Of what could a person do? What a person could do is feel that, listen, and I don't need anybody besides Hashem. So everybody's going to laugh at me, and then so they're not going to want to help me. Hashem is going to help me. Now you see people that are in jail. Many of them, they reach such a pintle because they were themselves. We don't have, and it's very scary, but that's the truth, how much we totally breathe from the oilam. That means from when we get up in the morning, we're thinking, okay, today's going to be a good day. The oilam is going to like what I'm going to say. Hey, I love it. I'm going to give my child a smile, and the child's going to give me some feedback. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to have the oilam on the floor. I'm saying it a little bit kitzoni, but our brain constantly, that means 24/7, is what is the oilam going to say about me? On a very, very stark oilam. So that's a very big problem. And that's where when you touch it, it touches a person like, hey, even though they could still have everything going for them, and those people didn't say you're nothing. All they said was that maybe you should think next time before you go Baltwila for Musaf. I don't know. That's it. Besides that, you're a very talented guy. Who cares? So you want the Musaf. A person's mind is wired constantly. What are people thinking? Sometimes it's really shtickle milk to the b'dichas, but for a beginner that wants to be a handwriting analysis, so if you want to be matzliach, you take that person's ksav, you take the writing, you look at it, and you say that it looks like you care very much what people say about you. You'll always be machavan lamis. Yeah, they'll say, how do you know it's mamish, accurate? Because azoidos, this nikud. And being that it's so strong, wired into the brain, even when a person is smart and doesn't need the people to tell him, but the Maisa he has that he's smart, he feels the feedback, that the Olam is happy with him. He doesn't need more than that. So what happens is that when it's taken away from us, even just a little bit, even when it's only touched, it's a wrong way of living. People that are the first time at a job, it's so important for them to get feedback. So what do Olam say? The Olam was happy. They live. We live off it, and they get regards and feedback, and from this way, from the other way. It helps the person feel. Now there is a musik that a person wants to know if they're on the right track. They want to know if they need to know what do I need to fix. But if we chap that the Eibishter puts us into this Nakuda because that's the essence of life, to be able to be with the Rebbeinu Shalom, then we chap that we want to work on it even before. There's a shtickle from Rav Vigda Miller in the Sefer Sharei Oira, which explains, the Gemara says in Sefer Masechtas Makos that Micho said that it's built, the Avodas Hashem is built on three Yisoides. Asois Mishpat, Ahavas Chesed, Vatznei Alechas Hashem Alekach. So he says, Asois Mishpat means doing what's right, which includes all Tarayag Mitzvahs. Of course, that's the main thing in Yiddishkeit. Ahavas Chesed means, even if you already did everything, but you want to be, you work out your midas, you want to be someone that gives, that makes sense. But Vatznei Alechas Hashem Alekach, usually, we teach, it means that a person tries to do it, and nobody should know. Low volume. No, nobody has to. So you ask. That's not something. That's not the third nakuda. That's the mahalach of the first two. That means when you're doing mitzvahs, you're doing it quietly. When you're doing chesed, you're doing it b'hatzneiah. But why is it the third pole? So he explains in length that vatzneiah lechas Hashem Elokecha doesn't mean the tzura how you do mitzvahs. If you did it more be'echos, if you did it more the quality, the ikar nakuda is that a person slowly develops, that he lives with the Rebbeinu Shalom. He remembers Hashem is here. He remembers that Hashem loves him. He remembers that he could rely on Hashem. It's the mahalach hamachshava that I'm living with the Rebbeinu Shalom. Hatznei alecha sim alekecha means it's me and him, and that's it. That's it. I don't need from around and around. I train my brain that we are in touch. Then a person is a true Yid. That's like an inner Yid. That it's my relationship and connection with the Eibishter. And it's super, super important for a person to work on it. Not only because to get schar, because that's the yisoid why a person is here. Is to form that shaykhis. We see Shabbos is a ois beini u beinei Yisrael. It's like a private relationship, which is between Hashem and Klal Yisrael, and every person is supposed to develop their own. Nobody's business. What I do, what I don't do. It's how I feel. It's what I think. So loneliness is an opportunity, gewaldige opportunity for a person to utilize it then to work on this vatznei alechas im Hashem Elokecha. See so many people who develop such a strong kesher with the Eibush. It's fascinating. One of the stories is just got another. It was Nesparsim this week, because someone was nifta. Interesting story. There's a person that was nifta last week. His name was Chaim David Mordechai Goldstein. He was shtickle baltshuva. He didn't have a family, and he lost his mother when he was like 3. He didn't have anything, and he got hooked on with the wrong guys, and he got into trouble in New York, and he was in jail for 20 years. They locked him up for 20 years, and in jail he got stronger and stronger and stronger, and he became such a feidige Yid. Now, the interesting story that happened was that there's a Malamed in Satmar Cheda. I happen to know him personally. His name is Steinberg. Now he was, it was in the summer of Tafshin Ayin Vov, 8.5 years ago. He took them out on a trip, the kids, and it didn't work out. He wanted to go to the water park. Nothing worked out. And all the kids were edgy on the bus. So what do I do with these kids now? Now, in Mamash next to the Catskills, there's the Woodburn, there's a jail there. 3 parts, there's a camp, and there's the Otisville, there's a few there. So he decided he's going to take the kids, and he started telling them stories on the bus about that Amolige Zeit in the olden times, people used to scream in front of the jail to give chizik for the person that's in jail. The famous story of the Chabadska Chassid. His friend used to come and give him chizik from the window. He told the guy, you can never know if there's a yid here. So he told him, let's try. So he takes the buses, the yellow buses, and he drives up. And then there's a big sign, hey, you can't drive further. He tells the driver, you go until they stop you. What can they do with little kids? And they went till the building of the jail. And he opened up all the windows and the door of the bus. And they started seeing Ani Maamin. They started seeing Nora Muna. They started seeing these. And then they see on the third floor, there's a window opens up and a hand comes out. It starts going like that to them. And they got so emotional. Something happened. Someone's there. And they were screaming top of their lungs. They were going out of their mind. Then, what happened was that the guard saw that something, what's going on? He started screaming, go away, you're not allowed to be here. So this Malama tells the driver of the bus, there's no law how quickly you could turn around. So you make sure you turn around, it takes you years. And they were singing and they were screaming on top of their lungs until they went, you couldn't hear anymore. He tried verifying who this Yid was and got nowhere. But the Eibishter's Drochem, and this is what's fascinating, the Eibishter wanted for them to know afterwards what happened. 2 years later, almost 2 years later, the beginning of the summer of Tafshan Ayin Ches, this Malama gets a phone call from a friend of his that I have an interesting guy, he could come give a lecture by your boys. A whole story with him, he was in jail. So this guy shows up. And he was very into brachas, birchas, and hen. They gave him a cup of orange juice, and he was saying he didn't have it 20 years. He didn't have a cup of orange juice, and he told him what it means, thanking Hashem. He went out of his mind. And all the kids saw what it means to make a bracha. Then he has his lecture. He wants to say, he's coming. He says, I was 20 years in jail. One time I saw Hashem. He says, what happened? He says, they used to tell me from time to time that I'm going to leave the jail. And not always, then it didn't happen. Did happen. He says, one time they came to tell me I'm going to leave tomorrow the jail. And I got very, very depressed. Because this was my life. I was here like for almost 18 years. And I don't have where to go. Here, I have food, I have a bed, I have friends. This is my life. Where am I going? I don't have $1. I don't have anything. No family, nothing. So I was mamash depressed. And that night I was crying and crying. I told Hashem, show me that you exist. Show me that you exist. The next day, I'm in the lunchroom, and all the other chevra tell me, hey, you have guests. He says, which guest? He says, listen, there's a bus with Jewish letters, the Hebrew letters, and they didn't come for us. They came for you. And they're singing. So he goes, and he's telling these kids, I opened up the window, and I hear, Emuna, Emuna. It's never happened to me. This is the next day. He says, I was so overwhelmed that I stuck on my hand. Now this Malama that's there, he broke down. Because he couldn't believe what's happening. That as these are the kids and I'm the Malamed. He was trying to, in the middle, stop him. He says, let me say my story. And when he finished his story, he told me, you're not going to believe it. They both met up. He was in his last week now. And it was the kids that were there, they were damaged for life. The story went in so deep. The koyach hatfila and the koyach of Ashkocha Protis. But this person from jail, we just got to the story. For his whole life, people that come out and they used it properly, means they took away all the noise from around and around. They become connected so deep that they don't have how people can't. Because that's the emes. That's the emes. So this is the Yisoid. The Eibishter wants to take us through this mahalach because it does something which no other challenge could do. Nothing. And if a person utilizes it richtig, it changes the person like nothing else could change them. Nothing else. Okay.